Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. What the fuck was that, motherfucks? I'm referring, of course, to women's soccer in the Olympics. So the big news of the day is that the United States women's soccer team lost overnight to Canada, right? Shout out to Canada for winning, I guess. Now, I knew when I woke up this morning that was the case. You know how I knew? I'll tell you how I knew. I didn't wake up and my phone didn't have 19 alerts from the news app telling me how great and courageous the United States women's soccer team is. So I knew something was afoot, motherfucks. Fortunately, I woke up early enough and I was able to watch while still in bed on my phone. I was able to watch the end of Sweden versus Australia. I watched about 6-7 minutes of the game, right? It was by far, motherfucks, by far the worst 7 minutes I've ever watched of soccer. All right. And honestly, the worst 7 minutes I've ever watched of any sport. It was atrocious. All right. Now, typically in 2021, you can't say some of the things that I'm about to say and still belong to polite society. Luckily, I couldn't give a fuck about that. So I'm going to say it like it is as usual. Again, I will preface this by I'm always fair, motherfuckers. I'm always fair. Megan Rapinoe, all right? World Cups ago, I saw Megan Rapinoe play on TV, and she stood out. Megan Rapinoe was and still is a very good soccer player, all right? So as much as I'd like to hate her for being a shitty player, she's not a shitty player. She sucks in terms of like the way that she approaches things like soccer and equal pay, but she's a good player. I mean, you gotta say it like it is, motherfucks. And that's the problem with a lot of society, is that nobody really says it like it is. We have to tiptoe around the truth. But not me, motherfucks. Not me. I watch Australia versus Sweden, and all I'm seeing is a bunch of garbage. It was atrocious, like I said, right? In the context of this game, Sweden is the favorite. They've won every game they've been in thus far, right? Now, and according to the announcer during the game, no team in the Olympics, at least in women's soccer, has just won every game. So if Sweden wins the gold medal match, they're the only team ever to win every game they play at the Olympics in soccer, which would mean that they're probably the best soccer team ever in the Olympics, right? I mean, obviously there's some variance there, but that's the takeaway here, right? The fact, though, and the truth is, motherfucks, that team was shit, okay? They might be better than Team Australia or whatever. Yeah, Team Australia, which might be even worse. You know what I mean? Anything's possible, I guess, right? But if you're a female soccer player, I don't want to extrapolate to other sports because, quite honestly, I don't know much about women's sports. Who knows? Maybe the WNBA is killing it for all I know. You put a gun to my head and you say, hater, name 5 WNBA players. I'd be able to name 0, all right? So I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything, but I will tell you this. Based on this semifinal match, right, where Sweden won and they're likely going to win the gold medal against Canada, based on this, if you're a woman who plays soccer professionally and you watch this, you should now go on any public platform you can and you should apologize to the world for making the world listen to this nonsense about how women should be paid the same as men in soccer. This is a disingenuous argument. No woman who is an honest person and no man who is an honest person will reasonably argue that women soccer players deserve the same amount of money as people like Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi, right? The mere suggestion that this should be the status quo, that women should get paid the same as men because they're doing quote-unquote the same thing, is preposterous. It is a lie, and no one who is genuine believes it, right? This is the same argument as saying that someone in Major League Soccer, some jobber, some nobody, who will never have any meaningful impact in the sport, should get paid the same as Ronaldo, arguably the best player of all time, who has an impact on the sport every game he plays, basically. Right? It's the same exact argument. Basically, the argument is this: irrespective of skill, because I do the same thing as this person in a skill-based job, I should get paid the same. The problem here is that, you can, with soccer, it's easy to make this argument because a lot of times a long pass is a long pass. Doesn't matter if it's being done by Kevin De Bruyne or if it's being done by Megan Rapinoe. On TV, it looks the same. Now, we know that if Kevin De Bruyne was in any female soccer team, that soccer team would beat the other one like 15-0 just on his assist alone, But the point being that on TV, it might look the same, whereas things like basketball don't look exactly the same when you see women playing basketball. When I see highlights of women playing basketball, it's like it's clearly at a lower level. In soccer, you can make that leap sometimes. If it's like a really good game, like 2 World Cups ago, it was like Brazil versus US. The game was so good that a lot of people were like, oh my God, women's soccer is good. They didn't realize that that was like an outlier of a game. Most of us didn't watch any other game, motherfucks. Most of us didn't give a fuck. But those that did probably turned the channel away immediately. Just like me. You watch this high-level game today, or, quote-unquote high-level game, and you're just like, I was baffled at the mistakes that were being made. It's like these girls never played soccer in their lives. Like these headers, like this girl missed a clear chance, a clear opening chance at the goal. Now, I know that this happens sometimes, motherfucks. I know that this happens with men, of course. It happens with everybody. Sometimes Messi misses clear chances, It's rare, motherfucks. It's rare, but it does happen. So I'm going to give this girl a pass. I'm not saying that this girl, like, her missing that chance is indicative of her skill, But her missing that chance and 19,000 other mistakes that I saw in 7 minutes of play, right? The penalty in the other game, I saw the highlights in the Canada-US game. The penalty, a lot of people were like, oh, it's not a penalty. It was a penalty, motherfucks. For sure it was a penalty. A lot of people don't understand the rules of soccer, but the rule, plain and simple, is this. If you kick someone and don't touch the ball with your foot, or I guess any part of your body, like your head, for example, if you're the goalie, but if you go for the ball, right, and you completely miss, and all you do is kick someone else, that's a foul, right? That's what happened today, And that's why Canada got the penalty. Now, a lot of people were confused because, number one, people don't really understand soccer, but everyone pretends they understand sports during the Olympics. But number two, they got confused, in my opinion, because of just the atrocity of what happened, right? Like, it was obviously a penalty, but the level of play was so poor, it was so bad, that, like, the Canadian girl, the black girl who was Canadian, and the white American girl, they're just running into each other. The black girl was smart. She tried to dive for the ball, and she drew the penalty. In the context of what was happening, she was clearly the better player there. But they were both so bad that you couldn't understand what the fuck happened. And when they called the foul, I'm like, what do they call the foul on? Because the Canadian just dives. She just dives across, right? She's not going to get the ball, like everybody knows, right? And then the American, like an idiot, kicks the ball. I don't know why she was kicking it that way anyway. She's kicking it towards the goal, right? And kicks this girl right in the leg. This wouldn't happen in a men's soccer match of any good level because people understand how to defend. And people understand when not to kick people. And the reason for this is because men's soccer has been mainstream for such a long time. Women's soccer is still not mainstream. Nobody gives a fuck about women's soccer, right? And that's why they don't get paid the same. But that's not even what I'm arguing, you know what I mean? Some could easily argue that women should get paid the same as men in soccer. Hey, be my guest. My argument is this. Anyone that argues that is lying. They know deep inside that that's just not fair, motherfucks. It's just not fair. This would be the equivalent of me and 5 of my friends starting a 3-on-3 basketball league and then demanding that we get paid the same as LeBron simply because we're playing basketball. No, motherfucks. The reason that we wouldn't get paid the same as LeBron, aside from obviously the logistical reasons, is that if LeBron came, he'd beat all 6 of us 6-on-1, 100-0. That's the difference, right? There's levels to this. And for some reason, some of these advocates, like the Megan Rapinoes of the world, really don't want to accept the truth. Or, in my opinion, they're just being disingenuous. Like, Megan Rapinoe knows she's nowhere near the level of Messi, right? It's not even, like, worth discussing. If you take Megan Rapinoe and you compare it to, like, a League 4 midfielder in, like, Scotland, then Even then, she's not good enough, motherfucks. That's like how disparate the gap is. It is gigantic, right? Like the women's soccer team lost like 5-3 to the men's under 15 team or some ridiculous like nonsense, right? And it's not like the men's under 15 team has since become this like legendary team. Absolutely not. They're a bunch of jobbers nonetheless. They're gonna lose to like Brazil in a few years, like 10-0. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even close. The truth is what the truth is, motherfucks. You cannot deny these things, you know? And this, honestly, to me, is such a step backwards for sports, for women's sports. It's like, if you want to be taken seriously, you have to be exceptional at what you do, especially when your argument is, I want to be compared to men. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's stupid, and it's disingenuous, right? If women's sports argued this, hey, when you're done watching men's sports and you still want to watch more, we're here for that. If they were genuine, if that was the argument, because that's the only reason why people watch women's sports, it's either that or because they're women and they want to be like, I want to be like Megan Rapinoe one day, which, hey, be my guest. I'm sure she's doing just fine. I'm sure she's a millionaire, you know? But the facts are what the facts are, all right? People don't want to watch this. People have no interest in this because they know it's a shitty level of competition. There are women's sports that get more viewership, right? So, for example, gymnastics, I would say, is a sport that favors women, right? Or at least the competition favors women. It's more entertaining to see a woman do something graceful than a man, than a 5'1", like I saw the men's gymnastics. It's these like men who are like doing these flips and they're straightening their legs out like ballerinas and bowing like girls. It's fucking weird. It's like it's like this uncanny valley thing, right? But when you see like an in shape, attractive woman do it, you know, do something graceful, you're like, wow, that was graceful, you know? But you don't really associate grace with men. So like there's plenty of sports and situations where women have a competitive advantage or at least have a draw of an advantage, right? Like there's a bigger draw in seeing women do certain things than it is in seeing men do certain things. But there's a bigger draw in seeing men do athletic things in general, right? There are exceptions. But recently, since Ronda Rousey's overhyped push, I knew as soon as they said she's going to fight Holly Holm, I told people that I knew, I'm like, she's going to get knocked out. You know, there's levels to this, all right? Holly Holm, first of all, comes from a better sport, boxing, right? She comes from a real sport, not a made-up, like, bullshit, like Ronda Rousey never wanted to be a UFC fighter. She wanted to win gold medal in judo. She couldn't. So then she's like, oh, okay, I'm going to go try my luck in this other sport where every failed athlete ends up. That's exactly what happened, right? So that's what I got to say about that. But ever since Ronda Rousey came up, you know what I'm saying? This debate has started where people are like, Ronda Rousey could beat every man. A man should fear Ronda Rousey. Like, I've said this before, but when Ray Rice, I think he was a running back. Yeah, I think he was a running back. Shit, it's been a while, man. Ray Rice, the running back from the NFL, he was caught on camera, like, beating his wife in the elevator. I've mentioned it several times, motherfuckers. He's beating his wife in the elevator, right? And Ronda Rousey, she chimes in. She's like, if it was me and Ray Rice, I would have broken his arm. And it's like, it's this kind of horseshit, you know? And people, like, especially UFC fans, don't get me started on those guys. You think WWE fans are dumb? UFC fans are retarded. They don't understand anything, man. They think that, like, you know, that Francis Ngannou really could beat up every man in the world because he's the UFC heavyweight champion. They're so dumb. Like, I can't wait till he fights Tyson Fury in, like, a boxing match and he just gets outclassed completely. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, UFC fans are really stupid, and they really bought into the hype, right? That's what happened with her and Conor McGregor. I've been saying for years, personally, that McGregor as a fighter is overrated. But who cares? He's not there because he's a fighter, let's be honest. He's there because he's good on the stick, motherfucks. Wrestling fans understand that, of course. But MMA fans don't get it. They really think that this guy's like the best fighter because he says he's the best fighter. You know, how many excuses have there been made for Conor McGregor, by the way, another video for another time, if you ask me. You know what I mean? The facts are what the facts are, and they're right in front of us, right? Ronda Rousey's like, I can beat up Ray Rice. Megan Rapinoe's like, I should get paid the same as Messi. And nobody really just sits these girls down because maybe they really believe this shit, you know? Maybe Ronda Rousey really believes, like, she could be this stupid. It's possible. She could really be stupid enough to believe that she would beat up Ray Rice. Like, anyone that thinks that has never been in a fight. They don't understand how important strength and athleticism are in fights, right? Ronda Rousey cannot hurt Ray Rice, and Ray Rice is a small man, especially in the NFL. In the NFL, he's like a tiny dude. but he is a strong 230 pounder, right? First of all, he's like several weight classes above her, right? And the argument that she would like, she's like, all these nerds were like, she would hip toss him and arm bar him. No, what would happen is this. She would step up to him, he'd grab her by the head and bash her head against the elevator wall, just like he did to his wife, unfortunately, right? That's what would happen. And it's the same thing with the Megan Rapinos of the world playing soccer, except the difference is, motherfucks, when Ronda Rousey fights another girl, you know, she could knock her out, and a knockout is a knockout. It has the same vitriolic impact, right? But in soccer, you know, it's a much softer sport. Much softer sport. So people like when people play poorly in soccer, you're like, oh, these people suck ass. You know? Have you ever watched the World Cup and it's like a strong group and it'll be like, I don't know, like Argentina or something versus like what's a shitty soccer team versus like Senegal or something like that, right? And Argentina just destroys them completely. It's like that. Like that's when you realize there's levels to this. When Argentina plays Italy, you know, it might be like 1-0 because the level is there. But when Argentina plays like, I don't know, like Burkina Faso, right? They're gonna destroy them and you're gonna be able to notice a difference. And that's the effect that's happening here. I don't want to ramble on too long about this because I understand that there's not much more to say. Except for the fact that if you are a female soccer player, and I'll say it one more time, if you're a female soccer player and you really think you deserve the same amount of money, you're just lying to yourself. You know you don't. You know you don't deserve even 1/100th, or not even 1/1000th of what Messi makes. You don't deserve that at all, right? And it's not honestly even because you don't draw. Because not drawing is a byproduct of like not being good, right? If you're not good, you don't draw. People aren't interested in seeing women kick a ball around. People aren't even interested in seeing men kick a ball around. People become interested in things like rivalries and teams and things of that nature, right? That's why like nobody gives a shit about Conor McGregor fighting Dustin Poirier. Nobody cares about the actual fight. People care about the lead up and the consequences of what happens in the fight, right? Same exact thing, cucks. Same exact thing. So the Megan Rapinos of the world, and you know what? I'll put it to you this way, motherfuckers. The last thing. I'll put it to you this way. They asked Megan Rapinoe, they said, what can people do? What can the average American do in order to help women's soccer, right? And you know what her answer was, motherfuckers? Her answer was, they can watch our games, they can buy tickets to our events, they can buy merchandise. And it's like the counter argument, immediately once she said this, the announcer should have said, oh, okay, so in order for them to support you, they actually have to spend money, right? Which means you're conceding that not enough people are spending money on you, right? Because you're not good, right? Like, you don't see Ronaldo going out there being like, hey, if you want to support me, buy my jersey. He doesn't even need to say that because as soon as that jersey comes out, people are like, oh shit, Ronaldo's jersey is out. They buy it. Ronaldo drinks water instead of Coke, and like Coke loses like $4 billion, right? He makes things happen without even trying. Megan Rapinoe goes out there and petitions and can't get anything done, right? Because fundamentally, she's not entertaining enough because she's not good enough. And it's not just her. She's one of the better ones. But it's just this argument, right? It's like you watch this atrocity. You know, while watching it, I'm like, I can't believe they're giving out a gold medal for this. I can't believe like one country is going to get like one gold medal in their tally as a result of their women's soccer team. It's a complete toss-up. Like anyone could win. You know what I mean? There's like almost no skill from what I saw. So there you have it, motherfucks. And with that being said, I'll take care of you guys and talk to you later, motherfuckers.